I will not have you insult my routine.
Your routine? What routine is that?
My discipline, my vocal exercises.
Go on.
What's up?
We're back. Because we keep forgetting to say this. Welcome to the low ceiling.
I'm free.
I'm John. I'm really tired. Sore.
Why are you tired and sore, John?
Played a football match.
Oh,
I played a football match.
The sports match.
But not the football we're talking about today. Because today we're talking about a quintessential football film. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why football? Oh, right.
Oh my God, it's a massive plot.
Oh, geez.
It's a massive part of the plot is that it's a football. It takes place before the Super Bowl.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah. We've been watching a lot of like poorly aged football content actually.
Back to
Ace
back.
Ventura, The League, Antichrist.
Antichrist is the number one sports movie of the year.
I wanted to say something for anyone who wants to place this in a time. Currently, the Writers Guild of America is on strike, and as people who like films, we support them. That's 100%. All I want to say, because if you go back and listen to our trenchant philosophical debate about AI in our iRobot episode, I did mention the issue of AIs writing movies, and without the writer's strike, that might have been a thing that would happen. And that's part of what they're fighting for.
I think another...
Because I frankly don't want to live in a world where an AI writes a movie or makes art.
What about the last 10 Marvels? No, I'm just kidding. They were all works of art.
I mean, the Russo brothers are trying to make it happen, but that's because an AI is better at stuff than they are.
One of the Russos is a robot. The small
which one?
The small
one
Russo.
with like the red eyes and who says like I am Joe Russo. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I mean
I am the well-known human Joe Russo.
Mark Zuckerberg.
I hope you enjoyed Avengers Endgame.
A chilling rendition.
Oh, sorry, Russo brothers. Your films fucking suck.
No,
and I'm upset that you started on Community.
Oh.
Yeah, so Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Yeah.
I mean, a movie that has aged incredibly poorly because it's, I mean, just fucking flat out, straight up transphobic.
Yeah.
Which is.
This is a bad movie, dudes.
It's in 2023 and shortly previously, like as trans issues have come to the fore, it's definitely become the lasting legacy of this film, more so than like kicking off the career of one of cinema's greatest comedic performers, you know?
Yeah.
This movie just always will come with this caveat that it's like strongly transphobic, strongly anti-LGBTQ in its like messaging. And
it's also coming from a guy who's talking out of his butt.
It's
literally.
It is like such a goofy ass comedy. Yeah.
So none of it is meant to be taken seriously.
Well, I'm like the thing. Okay, I was actually thinking about kind of how to say this. I don't think, and maybe this is controversial to say, I don't think that the directors, the writers, or anything went in and been like, oh man, trans people, let's fuck them up with this one. They went in and they use a bunch of really harmful stereotypes, which I'm not saying is like better or excusable, but they just they become like the butt of this joke, so to speak, and you know it's harmful. It's not cool. It's not really good.
No,
yeah,
it definitely can do without it. 100%.
90s as hell, you know.
Yeah.
Just the idea that it's like, you know, this person is mentally unwell and therefore they take on a transgender persona to get revenge and stuff, and it's
totally
like, yeah,
totally,
know, it's not good. On the other hand, lots of things about the movie are really funny. Moving away from all of that, which I admit is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was a phenomenon.
This movie is a one-man show, dude.
Yeah, because, okay, so I wanted to say that, like, a really bad joke about how this movie is like a stigmatizing portrayal of transgender people, LGBTQ people, and football. So it's like the total American experience.
Yeah. This movie sponsored by
everything.
Congress.
Animal abuse, making fun of the mentally ill, football. It's totally American. Yeah.
And UPS. So you're right. Quintessential.
Yeah, and UPS as well. Everyone probably knows, like, Jim Carrey, this is the year that he had, like, he had the Michael Jordan fucking year where he does this, which they released in, like, Dumpuary, basically. They thought it was going to fail. Or, like, I didn't think they had high expectations. It fucking smoked the box office. Like, it made a bunch of money. And then in the summer, they released The Mask, I believe. And then they followed up with Dumb and Dumber, all in 1 year. It's unbelievable.
Dear God, really?
And this movie, even without all of the problematic issues, I still think this movie is definitely the worst by a wide margin.
For sure.
But I have a soft spot for this film because I watched it. It's like one of the first movies I ever saw when I was a child, basically. So it became part of like common parlance among the other children who I grew up with. Like a lot of the quotes and things like that, and just stuck around forever and ever. And it's still, still in culture.
This movie is my Citizen Kane of animal films. This movie is one that'll stay with me even when I'm 90 years old. You know how some TikTok sounds are just ingrained in our brains now? Just
you hear the dolphin sound?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or the fucking crying cat or whatever. Just... I could be 95 with full-blown Alzheimer's and just be in a corner being like, happy.
I recently tried to struggle my way through rewatching Robin Hood Men in Tights, which has aged poorly just because it sucks so bad. But the one funny scene in that is they send a fox running across a field and it makes the dolphin noise as it runs. Which I still think of how funny that is.
I'm offended just kind of listening to this shit. Good God. Jim Carrey, dude. There's no comparing to any actor the quality of weirdness that is Jim Carrey. What's like what I like about this movie is like all of the problematic stuff is hard to watch now, but all of the jokes in it that are really just goofs, I find hilarious. Like some of the very like small things that he does that I just like, those are the real gold in the film. And then as the story gets going and it's like, it is whatever, it's like, it's more about these like tiny, it's definitely a movie that like you look up these small moments on YouTube and like you probably haven't watched the full thing in a long time, right? But like even like the moment where he's with Courtney Cox in the office when they first meet and he's watching the video of Snowflake's trick and he's just like sprinkling the seeds on the desk and she's like, do you want an ashtray? And he's like, no, I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit. And then he has like nuts and seeds all over his face. Like, and as you said, the UPS scene where it's just like, it's so simple, what he's doing, where he's just trashing this package. And yet somehow it's so funny. I don't know. He's obviously, I don't know. I might be the first person to ever say this. He's a pretty gifted physical comedian. Yeah. I mean, he's a genuine weirdo. It's not even like he's an accidental genius or he's an idiot savant. I don't think it's any of those things. He's just alien in how good he is and how weird he is. I mean, obviously the physical comedy just hits it out of the park, right? Every single movie, that or Mask or Dumb and Dumber, you can't take your eyes off of that fucking train wreck, even though he's saying some incredibly offensive things or doing something so annoying and stupid, but you want to sympathize.
You know what's funny? I was thinking a lot about that because I rewatched it this morning, and the scene where he talks out of his butt, like you say that and you're just like,
it's not funny because only like someone 10 or under would find that funny. However, I find the voice he uses really funny in that. I just instinctively laugh. Yeah. And then in that same scene, there's this moment again, like it's all of these moments that, and I've seen this movie so many times, and that's probably why I've mined it for these like small moments.
Yeah.
But when he's talking to Tone Loc and he shines the light in his face and he's like, is that everything? I find that so funny. The way it cuts back to Tone Loc and his eyes are super wide. He's like, that is everything. Get out of here. I don't know. There's something about it that it's really charming.
It's like he allows you almost to be that free, right? You can tap into your inner third grader and laugh at the little hand making the butt talk.
Yeah, and also like just be the guy who is such a standout person, you know? Like because the thing about this movie is like, okay, I was watching Dumb and Dumber earlier, which I do truly think is a genius film, like a comedic genius film, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. And unfortunately, the only like, the one I was watching it had a bunch of the deleted scenes back in it, which are not very funny. And there's a scene with this waitress where she makes like a goofy joke, and I was like, I totally understand why the Farley brothers cut that scene, because only Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels are allowed to be insane.
Yes,
and you have to live in a world where only they are insane, basically. And in this movie, it's kind of the same thing, because like everyone kind of behaves very normally. And something that I like about this movie is that like there's a certain point where it turns into like Zodiac for a minute, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like but only Ace can be, because he's such a huge character. Yeah. Only he can be so crazy. Yeah. And that is, in my opinion, the problem with When Nature Calls, which we're going to fire up after we record this pod, is like there's too much in the world that's also crazy.
Oh, right.
But in this movie, I think it does a good job of like grounding the rest of the world around such a massive character, you know?
Yeah. And it needs to be. Otherwise, you don't want to be distracted by other weirdness.
You can't. Like, no one else can be funny in this film. No. Basically.
And rightly so. Regardless of how it's got a huge fan following now, I feel like it's perfectly placed at 48% or whatever it's at on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a movie that you can't feel neutral about. You either loved it as a kid, continue to love it as an adult, or you're so annoyed by it, you just can't stand it.
Yeah.
And that's why it perfectly splits the audience in half.
I mean, the thing too is like, I was 4 when this came out, and I probably didn't see it until I was like later 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like if one or both of my parents listen to this, they'll probably be like rolling their eyes, being like, that movie's so fucking annoying. You know? Yeah.
What'd you think is your favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time?
Dumb and Dumber, hands down, without even a contest.
Of across all genres.
Across all genres, yeah.
Really?
What are you gonna? It's not fucking the number 7 or whatever. The number 23.
Number 7.
No, do you remember that like serious crime movie he did, the number 23, that we're definitely gonna cover at some point in our life?
That was a strange one.
I actually have never seen it, but I know it just fucking flopped. Yeah.
I love Serious Carey, of course. I think his work in Kidding, the TV show, is just I've never watched Kidding. Yeah, God, like, to anyone listening, just stop everything and watch Kidding. That shit is life changing. It's incredible, so funny and so dark and moving and all the good things. But my favorite thing he's ever done is Jim and Andy.
I really liked that. Yeah.
He's not serious in it, but he is serious in it. He's dark and weird, but he is funny, and he's just transforms as this character, and it's just hard to believe that.
Hold on though, do you like the documentary, or do you like Man on the Moon?
The documentary and Man on the Moon.
Yeah. So okay, I really like Jim and Andy. I thought watching that, I was like, this must have been so annoying to work with him, and I feel bad for Milos Forman and Courtney Love and everyone else in that film who had to work alongside this fucking psycho. At the same time, it's not unlike, you know, like, that's the rumor, like Daniel Day-Lewis Yeah, you know, like it is interesting to be like, it's so it's so cool that this guy is so dedicated to this art, and then to portray a man that he really admired, that he does this kind of thing, and like whether you believe it's like actorly bullshit or not, like whatever, but it's still kind of like, just because I can't like empathize with it, I'm like, it's amazing that someone is that dedicated to the work that they're doing.
Yeah, and I don't have to care about his coworkers, and I frankly don't. I don't really care about how the industry perceives him as an actor. I am a consumer, and the end product for me was such a phenomenal experience that everything that this actor, this person does to get me to feel that way is honestly all that matters. So it is a terribly selfish take, but I'm so happy that that exists. And it, sadly, unfortunately, brought a lot of grief and, you know, probably PTSD for his coworkers from having to deal with a character so extreme. But oh my God, like, you don't think Ace Ventura would have been fucking shockingly annoying if he stayed in character the whole time?
I mean, probably. Like, I don't know. Like, it was a really interesting documentary because of that. It also like revealed to me just how much of a weirdo Jim Carrey is and stuff. And
he's so strange. He's just strangest man.
So I haven't seen Man on the Moon like since I was a kid, and I did not get it at the time because like when you're a kid and you see Jim Carrey, you just watch a movie and you expect it to be Ace Ventura, and it's not. So I didn't really understand it, but like it's pretty good, right? I've heard it's very
really good. And then once you have that context and that background from watching Jim and Andy, that shit just changes perspective so much.
Yeah, it made me want to rewatch it. Definitely.
But Jim and Andy for sure. I don't know why it's just ingrained in my head more than anything else he's done. Like, of course, Spotless Mind is a big one that a lot of people bring up often.
That's one people would probably point to
as a serious Carrey film, right? But when he's somewhat like darkly funny, that feels more serious than like a serious, straightforward serious movie like Eternal Sunshine. And that is why I think Jim and Andy stood out for me, because it feels so real in the way he's trying to be funny. Yeah. But he's just somewhat psychotic.
Yeah.
It's great.
That movie and like the whole thing he's doing and stuff, it kind of reminds me, like I just rewatched, speaking of things that have aged poorly, I just rewatched Borat, and like Sacha Baron Cohen kind of, I think there's lots of like crossover with their talents, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But not to mention that they're just tall, gangly, white, pasty guys.
Just every time there's something about pubic hairs, everybody loves that shit, man. Yeah. Everyone loves pube content.
So mine is Dumb and Dumber. Like, as I said, far and away Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
So where are you like with The Mask then?
The Mask is like a more digestible Ace Ventura for me. The Mask I can rewatch often. Ace Ventura, not so much.
I kind of think The Mask is like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Not that it's like the greatest film of all time,
no,
but to deliver what it's delivering, there's like nothing wrong with it. Yeah. You know, there's no part of The Mask that I'm like, like fuck off, like this is not good. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I every time I watch it, I'm just like, this is just like delivering exactly what it promised in a perfect way.
There's magic,
and it also has a lot of those moments like Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura where it's like the smaller moments of Carrey's performance are also really funny.
Yeah.
And like the part where what's the guy, the police detective who's like investigating the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, someone stole your pajamas. It's like one of my favorite scenes. And then also the scene where he tries to put on the mask in the daytime and then he's like dancing around and holding it to his face.
Oh God.
Is so funny. Yeah.
But to your point, Mask does have more characters who are somewhat goofier or at least just as goofy, like fucking landlady or a crazy neighbor.
Yeah, it's zanier. Definitely.
Definitely.
I mean, like his like friend in it is Richard Jeni, who's like a comedian. And,
there you go.
Yeah. Even
the villain is like comically villainous.
Yeah, and also the partner of the detective is like a goof.
Yeah.
It's
the
like
goofiest really is just Cameron Diaz. Oh my God.
Yeah,
She's really good in that
It's goofy
movie.
how hot she is. It's just, I can't
It's like her whole
overstate
thing.
how much in her prime Cameron Diaz was in that movie. Just,
Yeah. I think none would argue with you for that about that.
I just need a moment of silence for her. Time.
Did she die? She dead or something?
She's forever in my heart.
I got a surprise for you. Cameron, come on in. No. Yeah, so he has this insane year. Like, this is the first movie in it.
Yeah. I know there's other darker movies that he's done and also goofier movies that he's done. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where does Pet Detective rest for you? 10 being super goofy, 10 being, I guess, Dumb and Dumber, and 1 being Dark Crimes or something. Number 23, I guess, that's the shittiest one.
Like on between like dark and comedy, I actually think that an aspect I like about it, like I said, was like there are points of this where it turns into a noir kind of, and there's like creepy aspects of this movie.
Yeah.
Like I think the scene, so like on a, I don't know, maybe like a 7, but like it is definitely goofier, but there are aspects that are dark. The scene where he goes to Ray Finkel's house and meets his parents and watches the video, I think is like truly kind of chilling in a really good way.
Yeah.
Like and to be honest, like props to Tom Shadyac, the director. Tom Shadyac, I think, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just like really interestingly filmed when he's watching the reel, and then it like zooms in on the reel, and you can hear the commentator and stuff. Like, I do think truly that is like really good filmmaking, and it's like creepy and eerie, and you're just kind of like, that's also when you don't know exactly what is going on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
A lot of this part, though, that you're talking about is only in the last maybe 30 or 40 minutes of the film. You do have to sit through a considerable amount of...
I mean, isn't this movie only like 45 minutes long? Like, it's so short.
Oh, shit, right.
No, it's like
90 minutes.
It's less than 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It is so short.
I love the little, very, very mild tonal change when they get into the detective portion of it.
Yeah, same with when Roger Predactor commits suicide, quote unquote.
Right.
Like that is like that's like a fucking Law and Order episode almost, except like, but I do think that they do a good job of like striking a tone that's not like too goofy. Like he actually tones it down just a little.
Yeah.
And rather than like, it's like an important plot point because rather than just being like, this guy's a goof, he's actually smart, you know, and and you have to see that once in the film, right? Yeah. Because everything he's done up until that point has been like a blunder. And yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up another hottie, Courtney Cox, also in her prime.
Yeah, prime Cox.
Wonderful hair, just peak 1994 hair.
Sharp face.
So good, killed it. All right, let's talk plot, baby.
I mean, in as much as we can, like everyone has seen this fucking movie.
Has seen it to death.
So it opens with him. He's doing a delivery. I just want to point out in the scene, like, I love this scene. The dude that they found to play the guy who kidnapped the dog is like some fucking A+ level casting. This is simultaneously like the scariest, trashiest, most 90s guy.
Yeah.
And you know what I think of every time I watch it, especially now in like 2023?
David Harbour. Just kidding.
No, I think that like, I'm like, some people like our age now kind of dress that way today.
That was me last week.
Like that style has like come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few guys with like a curly haired overgrown mullet and a mustache. And you know, like it's like 90s styles now coming back in the prime. Yeah.
It's corporate depression.
Yeah.
That's what Sundays are for.
Yeah, they're doing it. And so he saves the dog. He returns it to the woman with the tittiest tits ever made on fucking the planet of tits.
She has the most LA casino
She's
outfit.
fucking 60% tits.
It's great. No complaints there.
That is so funny because it's like, I mean, among all the other things in the 90s that were just like assumed, like, you know, that was just kind of like, it's like, we need her to be really hot. And it's like, all right, just stuff her tits just in the smallest shirt ever. And it's like,
I have no memory of her face. Don't ask me the color of anything.
You never see her, like, you only see her in profile, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a face.
She's got one. Yeah, she's got one.
She's got one of those.
She uses it later.
Oh yeah, it's pretty great.
And then
Ace Ventura's shirt, his classic Pet Detective Hawaiian fashion shirt.
coming back in fashion too these days.
Love it. I just bought 3 of those myself.
Yeah, you were wearing a very Miami Dad shirt.
She feeling. I mean, I am cocaine daddy.
Miami Daddy. Yeah. Very Narcos.
Very Narcos.
And then he goes back to his apartment, and again, these scenes are just like all set up. And he talks to the guy who fucking went on to be in Breaking Bad. And you know how much I love when he's like, "Yes, Satan."
Ventura. Yes, Satan.
But I have to say, that man's name is Mr. Shickadance.
Yeah. In real life?
No.
Aww.
In the movie,
oh, right.
Jim Carrey is like, "Mr. Shickadance," and that is fucking hilarious writing. Just like to call a man Mr. Shickadance, I think is so amazing.
Oh.
I think it's one of my favorite cinema names ever. It's like you just don't expect it. Every time.
Because he has the serious, most founding father of hard drugs face.
Yeah.
And you don't expect him to be just this this guy.
And then so Snowflake, the Miami Dolphins dolphin, is stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, in retrospect, is probably cool. They shouldn't have a fucking
Free
dolphin as a
dolphin,
mascot.
Guys. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's in the smallest tub known
again,
to man.
in the 90s, a totally normal fucking thing.
Yeah.
Ace is hired to look for the dolphin as a pet detective.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the disgusting habit scene is great. And then he goes into the tank, the empty tank, and he finds the diamond in the filter. Yeah, go. You look like you're going to say something. No?
I was just going to say, every time they bring up the word pet detective, someone ultimately also says, "Yeah, Ace Ventura, pet dick." And they're just waiting to throw that.
That's
in the
what
mix.
like Sean Young says to him.
Yeah. Listen here, pet dick.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
I
had that in the bag for so long.
I do love too in this movie, like before you find out all the transphobic aspects of Sean Young's character.
Oh boy.
She is just like she has one note the entire time, just fucking yelling the whole time. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the cop station. He talks to Tone Loc, trying to get more information.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the Metalhead show, the big metal show where
Cannibal
Corpse made their debut.
Forgot about that
for all you cannibal heads. I don't know what their fans are called.
The Corpsers?
The Corpses. And then he finds out that Udo Kier, not Bill Camp, I was going to say Bill Camp, Ron Camp, he's like connected to the dolphins. He has a ring, and so he goes to his party thinking, and he's also a rare fish collector.
Right.
Thinks that he might have Snowflake.
But did we know then that it was a red herring?
Yeah, also the party scene is just wild. Like, it's so like...
it's quality quintessential second grade bathroom humor.
You know what it is like Dumb and Dumber, honestly, has like when they go to the party in their orange and blue suits, that is like they tried to one-up the party scene in Ace Ventura, but like just the way he behaves is just ridiculous. But then he also has the joke about like being a lawyer and making a wealthy practice off the like claims against wealthy homeowners serving shellfish or whatever. It's like really good.
Yeah.
And then he finds the tank. They used the Mission Impossible theme before the movie even came out. Although it was a show.
You pointed that out when we were watching it.
And like this movie is like 2 years before the first Mission Impossible.
What the?
Like,
how did they?
Yeah.
How does that even work?
Well, it was a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
So they had the theme, but it wasn't like... I wouldn't say that Mission Impossible was that big a deal until Tom Cruise fucking, took it.
Right.
Because, like, even I knew what it was when I first saw this movie. I remember specifically knowing that it was Mission Impossible. Yeah.
That would be
and I've never watched a TV show because I was born in 1990.
A young person, yes. It would be like...
God.
I don't know. It'd be like Game of Thrones selling its theme music to Ace Ventura 2, I guess.
It is an Ace Ventura 2, actually. Well, you'll see when we watch When Nature Calls.
When they're in the temple, it's like... Love it.
don't feel young. I feel old and frail.
What you talking about?
My foot hurts.
Yeah, that's true.
So Ace gets attacked by a great white shark. That's pretty great. And then, so he sees the ring, the AFC Championship ring, on Ron Camp's hand, and that's the stone, the diamond he found in the filter.
Right.
And he basically says, he's like, in a classic film detective thing, it's like this one thing will give him the truth. And he says, whoever has the ring with the missing stone is who did it, basically. And then there's a big montage of him trying to find that. This is kind of like the worst part of the movie. I never watched this part. I just find it so boring.
It was my favorite, and I feel like I don't even know fuck all about this sport. So for him to like chase after
Tell me how
these,
football works. Just explain.
So
it.
you know, so they've got the leaves, they've got their pucks and their wickets, and what Ventura does is like, all right, I know all the sportsmen's, and I got sports matches to get to. Yeah. So in this montage, I'm gonna get canceled. He chases after, and they're all real people, right, from the sports world.
I think that there's definitely lots of cameos.
I feel like that was such a good part for the film, because obviously this is a movie for football fans also, and so for them to have, you know, the Dan Marinos of the world to like show up and act alongside Jim Carrey must have been wild. Let me tell you right now, I'm not even a big sports girl, but if I see a bunch of cricket players,
you surprise me, yeah.
If I saw a bunch of fucking cricket players running along next to Jim Carrey.
Please, they call them cricketeers.
Okay, all right. Fucking Mr. Guy with the words. I loved it. And he's, you know, trying to showcase his sportsmanship by running alongside them.
No, he's just trying to keep up with them.
And when he's not able to, he just, you know, chloroforms.
That is the one funny one, is when he chloroforms the guy. Yeah,
he just like climbs on him like a little spider monkey.
Yeah,
like a little Bella to the Edward. It was great.
That's actually like you're allowed one chloroforming a game in American football. Yeah. But you got to watch out for it.
Wait, really?
What?
I'm not looking it up.
No, like in the actual sport, you just stuff it under that mask.
You know what? Just because I'm gullible, you can't say that shit.
Yeah. That's how football works. You throw the ball, some people run.
One chloroform.
And one chloroform gets,
We were talking about this yesterday.
That's why when you see them throw the flag on the play, it's actually, if someone catches that's a chloroform napkin.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Football, I'm a bit more of a sports fan than you, obviously.
I don't understand this.
I don't fucking understand football at all. I really don't get it. I never have. Don't think I ever will. Like, I get and admire the athleticism of these people, but I just don't understand it. Yeah.
I feel like this is the one I'd be really into, because it's like, this is a sport that's more easy to follow for me than, I can't even see the puck in hockey, so I don't know what the fuck I'm watching half the time on the screen.
Yeah.
At least the ball is big enough for my eyes to gauge where it's at.
I guess so.
And that's the defining trait of any sport. Make the ball big enough.
I highly, strongly disagree with that.
I don't know. I founded the sports, so where do you are?
Anyway, so that montage happens. It's a failure. He just hasn't gotten any closer. He's blundered everything up until this point. And there's the one scene where he's sitting in Melissa's yard, Courtney Cox, and he's like, she's like, you're just upset that your stupid ring theory didn't work. He's like, yeah, and you're ugly. Which I do think is the best comeback to literally anything you can. If anyone ever says anything slightly off to you, just be like, yeah, and you're ugly.
Yeah. I feel like that is the nail emoji present day.
Yeah.
Equivalent of,
it's perfect.
You're ugly.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then they find out that Roger Podacter has died. Roger Podacter is the communications head of the Miami Dolphins who works with Courtney Cox. And he is apparently committed suicide. They go to his apartment, and then Ace fucking solves that crime like
real quick.
Nobody's business. Good scene. I really do
really
like
good
this scene.
Where he walks over to the balcony to prove that the doors are soundproof, and so nobody would have heard the guy scream as he fell down. And the way he enacts the door closing and opening as he just belts out this like guttural scream.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is. I think like that is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Definitely.
Like, of all the scenes you could like look up on YouTube and rewatch, I think I've done that a couple times. I do think that's like a truly, really good
Love
scene.
it. Is it one shot?
No, God no.
Oh, okay,
They didn't have that type of sophistication in those days.
Yeah, they had to save it. They had to save it all
They
for
were
UPS.
they were still shooting on like 8mm Kodak. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
They
Are you
had to
kidding
save
me?
it for all the bird content. Or
They were shooting it through a fucking wooden box with a football strap on it.
Everyone's taking mental pictures and stitching a movie together.
Yeah.
Click. Click.
Just because I do this podcast doesn't mean I know how films work. Jesus. I don't know. Fucking who cares?
Sorry, cinephiles.
Yeah, we've let you down. Not just now, like all this whole thing. The entire time we've done this, we've let you down.
It's a butterfly effect, this whole pod.
After all of this, he sees the picture of Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
Who joined the team before the AFC Championship, midway through the season. So he would have had a ring, but he wasn't in the other photo. And then so he goes to investigate. He finds out Ray Finkel fumbled a kick. He was the kicker. He fumbled a kick in the Super Bowl 10 years prior-ish. And Dan Marino was holding the ball incorrectly. That was the claim. And so he goes to investigate. And then Ray Finkel dropped out of the league. He had to go to a mental health institution. Yeah. And so Ace goes to investigate his home with his parents. It's a really good scene as well. And then they basically find out that Ray Finkel's been plotting revenge on Dan Marino, who's like the big sports cameo in this is Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Who's dead now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about Dan Marino. He's not Cameron Diaz, I promise.
No.
They look way different.
At what point do they ever say if Ray Finkel, when he gets out of the institution, does he escape?
It's kind of left vaguely, right?
So he's just like has all the money and no one recognizes him when he's like, I'm going to have reconstructive surgery.
This is the thing that I've never thought about until we decided to do this episode. Walking through the actual procedure here. So, okay, so one sec. We'll get to it in just 1 minute. So he goes to the mental institution where Ray Finkel was to find his stuff because there's still stuff there. It's run by Tony Soprano's lawyer, who hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, he looks the same.
He looks the same. And I mean, I know this is, they're making good, solid American fun of the mentally ill in this scene.
Oh,
but the part where he does the super slow-mo button hook pattern is really fucking funny.
And now in replay,
I'm gonna execute a button hook pattern, super slow-mo.
It's so good. This is clown university shit, man. It is a masterclass. It is so goddamn good.
Yeah, and when he does the instant replay and he reverses, but then he reverses all the way to sitting down, and he just looks over. It's just fucking insane.
His neck is not even connected to his body. It is shockingly alien.
Yeah, and then there's also a shot of him doing a touchdown dance in the yard, which is really good. Anyway, so he finds all of Ray Finkel's stuff.
Oh, before you say, let's not forget that he borrowed that pink tutu from Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker, yeah.
Straight out of SATC.
Well, Sarah Jessica Parker borrowed it from him. Also, we forgot to mention that Courtney Cox looked incredible in this scene. Her dress and her hat, just fucking stunning.
I mean, is it the black and white one with the little
It's got
polka
flowers
dots?
on it, I believe. Yeah.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And Tony Soprano's lawyer just looks hot as hell too. Don't get me wrong.
Not aged a single
beautiful.
day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That dude has a fucking wonderful voice, to be honest. He should read audiobooks or come host this podcast with us or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he finds Ray Finkel's stuff, and he sees that there's a connection with Lois Einhorn, a hiker who got lost, who went missing, and they never found her. And it's within Ray Finkel's stuff. Einhorn is the detective, played by Sean Young. So,
lady detective.
What's the connection there? He's trying to figure that out. But, okay, so this is where I'm confused. Lois Einhorn, when she goes missing, was she the fucking chief of police or what?
No.
Was she even a cop?
No, I think not. It's just a random hiker. So free identity. And when this guy, Ray Finkel,
whenever
just
people go missing, I want to say, hey, free identity.
Assumes this, like, hey, identity for free, takes it, puts some tits on it, and now he's just this brand new person with a threatening aura in a police department. No one fact check anything.
But at the end, he says that, like, his Ray Finkel's drive for revenge helped him, like, manipulate his way to the top of this police department. But this is, like, all happened in less than a decade. So, like, you can't really become, like, the chief of police in less than a decade, or the chief of the homicide unit, can you? I don't know. Cops,
no,
like, tell me.
And also, no one... Yeah.
But then also, too, like, Lois Einhorn shows up with the same name, and no one's like, hey, the hiker's been found. She's back. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to look up... Okay. Finkel went completely insane, escaped from Shady Acres, and then had a sex reassignment surgery to escape the authorities. Afterward, he then worked as a senior Miami-Dade police lieutenant under the disguise. So this is just a long con?
It's like an incredibly long con, though, because if she wasn't a cop, then he would have had to go to fucking the police academy and shit.
All this to steal a dolphin?
As a woman. Like,
yes.
like posing as a woman.
Yeah. Why?
That's the thirst for revenge. That's how much he wanted revenge. But the other thing too, the other big problem with this, besides all of the obvious, is like,
oh my God,
as a person that mentally unwell, how can you keep it together to become such a powerful person in the Miami Police Department? Maybe
he's like a high functioning,
like psychopath, sociopath,
person.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just fueled by rage and I mean, for revenge.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, man, it's possible. Anyone who sets their mind to anything can do what they want. And that's the message.
That's the message of this entire movie. It always has been. Yeah. Why can't people take that away?
So, you know, if you want to... I'm not even going to say
Let's
anything.
not worry about it.
Yeah.
So Dan Marino's kidnapped. And then basically from there, like, Ace goes to rescue Dan Marino. This is during the Super Bowl. Ace goes to rescue Dan Marino and then reveals that Lois Einhorn is Ray Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Yeah.
And there's a couple really just fucking ill-advised scenes of homophobia and transphobia in there.
Yeah.
Two that are just bad. Although, like I'm about to like excuse it. Leaving all of that aside, the part where he puts the plunger on his face is fucking hilarious.
I wish it was in some other context.
I just because it is like
so well
in a
executed.
vacuum, just a hilarious physical bit where he just has the plunger on his face. But yeah, it's just in such a distasteful context that you're just kind of like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then so Ace rescues Marino and the dolphin, and then takes him back for halftime. Then he fights a mascot, and we're wrapped up. Boom, Ace Ventura, pet detective. Transphobia, football, America.
That's the new opener for any pod. This day forward.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh my God.
This is my audition for Fox News. I heard there's a job opening.
I heard there's a vacancy now.
Yeah. Vacancy in the psychotic rhetoric machine.
You know, next year when President Tucker takes over.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
Oh man. Oh boy. Yeah. What a strange world for this movie to exist in.
This is a great example of like this movie was just it wasn't in the public consciousness as just a problematic movie for a long time, and then it became rightly so, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a goofy ass comedy that really helped launch Jim Carrey's career.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we've evolved as people and have more scrutiny on films, like it's like, yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Right?
Fucking of course. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I feel like if a few of Jim Carrey's worlds could collide, movie universes, Ace Ventura would be a nice complement to The Truman Show. Just existing in the same city. Just poor old Truman.
Yeah.
Just going about his day, and then one Ventura appears with 400 monkeys or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else is pretty... No, there's a lot of 90s Carrey, hey? They don't even go into 2000s until much, much later. I'm thinking like Larry the Cable Guy or Larry the Cable Guy, regular Cable Guy. God damn it!
Have you seen the Cable Guy recently?
No, it was too scary. I don't think I ever rewatched it.
I kind of like the Cable Guy.
It's very scary. Yeah,
I think it was panned at the time.
Yeah,
but I don't know how it is now, like what people think of it. But I kind of like the Cable Guy. It's really insane,
of course,
in like kind of a fun way. And it's like Ben Stiller directed it. It's great. Like, I don't know. And I like The Truman Show a lot. I think The Truman Show is really good. But I often forget about those movies. You know?
Oh my God. All his like 80s shit. Did you see Earth Girls Are Easy?
No. I've never seen like any of his 80s movies. I know when he was on like a Clint Eastwood movie and Clint Eastwood like hated working with him or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, what a shocker.
Yeah. One Take Clint was just kind of...
Daddy Longcars didn't
right
like
here.
a goofy guy.
Yeah.
Liar, liar. Ugh. There's a Hindi movie that is a direct rip of Liar, Liar, and it's so bad.
Yeah. Is he in Bruce Almighty? Is that the one where he like? So he's like God, right?
He gets powers of God because he complains about it so much.
And there's an incredible scene where he just like swings his arms and his clothes entirely like rip off. I want that power.
Yeah.
That's the only power from that movie that I really
just
wanted.
for yourself?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm too tired to unbutton 3 things.
Yeah.
So.
Like if you could just like swing your arms and then they rip off and then they're just nicely folded behind you. It'd be pretty dope. Like, I mean, honestly.
That's the most 33-year-old shit I've ever heard. It's great. I'm with you. It's fucking awesome.
And then he had
Myself, and Irene was a great one.
Bro, that movie is not aged well either. Dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember all the bad parts.
It's like, it's so ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude.
Is it very imposing on women types?
I don't quite remember. It's incredibly vulgar, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, I sound like a fucking 40-year-old.
No, but
it's incredibly vulgar.
My monocle
distasteful.
was... Sick.
Make jokes about penises. Ooh.
It's true. You shouldn't joke about penises, guys.
Yeah.
Especially not after Antichrist. We're very sensitive around it.
You got anything more to say about Ace?
Just that, everybody go watch Kidding. Ace's best work till date.
Ace's best work.
Jim Ace Carey. Nailed it.
I mean, I think like we've hammered away at it, but like, you know, a movie with funny bits that is aged incredibly poorly.
Yeah.
It's also exactly like what the type of things I want to talk about on this pod.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Rightfully so at whatever mediocre rating it got. It deserves to stay there. And take all the good parts for the goodness that they offer the world and just leave the movie in dust, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Take all the good parts. Sunflower Seeds, Mr. Shickadance. The Mission Impossible theme.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff.
Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox in her dress. Tony Soprano's lawyer.
6 good things.
Yeah, Tone Loc.
Yeah,
why not? Thanks for listening. It's been The Low Ceiling.
Bye.
Bye.